Microphone muted. Awesome. Another lesson learned. So, welcome everybody who might be watching and or listening. Those who are doing neither obviously can't be welcomed. My name is Joseph. This is hopefully the last and final experimental session of the DeviceDojo. It is meant for friends, coworkers, whoever's interested in helping me getting better and understanding the workflows and tools. So let me click this fancy thing. This is experimental. I will not cover anything in this session which is of super educational value, which will not be repeated later or whatever. This is purely for me to get better at what I'm doing. So I will dabble a little bit in things that that are interesting to the company, to me, maybe to you. And I'm trying to figure out how to deal with the technology and the workflows of streaming before we finally go live with proper content, with proper prepared topics and things that will be worthwhile to watch and learn for you in, I plan, 2 weeks. I already have an idea and a topic in my head. So if everything works out fine, then this should be the session that you're joining. If you expect a proper, like, educational tutorial, whatever session today, it might be better to leave now and just use the time in a different way. For those who do not know me, which is very, very unexpected if you are still around, the DeviceDojo is meant to be a video session series presented by Northern Tech, who are the makers of Avaldi, of Mender, and CF Engine. And my name is Joseph. I'm a developer enablement expert at Northern Tech, specializing in Mender. I will focus on tutorials, on live coding, on offers hours, basically on everything that that makes your life better, hopefully easier, and enables all of us to be like good developers. I think that's the mission. So for today's like dabbling, I've decided to look a little bit at running Mender on UBFS, which is sometimes a little bit, okay, another lesson learned. You have to remove before you can add another thing. Okay, mental memory. Let me note that down. Always remove before add to stage. Okay, yeah, that's what I'm here for. I'm here for learning and making things better for the productive session. Okay, today I'm looking at a Mender setup using UBFS. The problem is over the last week or so, I tried to buy a board which still uses UBFS, and it's incredibly complicated, to say the least. So the thing that we're usually doing in such a case is use emulation, and in this case it is QEMU. We already have a preliminary, let's call it, configuration for QEMU to run Mender on UBFS. And let me, for this session, try to rebuild and actually do it. I've been working on this just like until 5 minutes ago. Okay, So this is MetaMender community, the layer that I'm responsible for, or the collection of layer that I'm responsible for and where I'm actively working on. And the canonical way to build using the cast configurations is making or creating a directory. I call them usually my whatever, and I do my dash the cast configuration that I want to use, which in this case is bexpress QEMU flash. I go in there, I get my personal configurations add-ons in there, and then let's build it. Cast build. Cast bexpress QEMU flash. We will look at this in just a second, and I'll add my local overlays, which is local. That just sets DLDIR and SSDIR for speeding up the build. And debug, no, not local, debug. I want debug. So I can log in as root very easily. The challenge with UBFS, at first it sounds really, really simple, like give me a board which uses raw NAND flash so I can run UBFS on top of it. But once you start digging, then A, you can buy those boards. B, on QEMU, you run into the problem of raw flash being implemented as the so-called P-flash. I think it's a module. And that one can't go beyond 64 megabytes. And within 64 megabytes, it's basically impossible to get the Mender AB layout with a working Mender integration. So, I mean, technically, you can have 64 megabytes with U-boot, root file system A, root file system B, and data, which is Mender's canonical layout. But if you look at it in a like meaningful way, then it means that you end up with 50 something megabytes per root file system. And that's quite tough if you need systemd, if you need all of the kernel, the modules, the stuff installed in there. So creating a setup which cobbles all of this into one has been a thing that I've been working on for a couple of days right now. So if this hopefully boots correctly, yeah, it does, then we can just take a small look at the configuration. No, YAML. And here comes the crazy part. Yocto is very, very powerful in defining how to run QEMU given a specific machine configuration. The problem is that this P-flash thing cannot handle a NOR or a flash device with more than 64 megabytes. We said this is definitely not enough, so we need something more. Mender builds in this context for 128 megabytes, but that again means we need 2 of the 64 megabyte flashes. And this is something which you cannot pack directly into Yocto's QEMU configuration. So what I did here, you can see it here. There I have a custom run QEMU, which is Yocto's canonical path wrapper, which unpacks the actual created output. And let's run it right now. Scripts not run QEMU bexpress, point it to our build directly, and we're on SSH, so no graphic. Hardly surprising. And it comes up, Yay. And if everything goes as planned, then I can now log in. Yay. I can see that there's UBFS involved. This is like the root file system partition. UB0_1 would be the inactive partition right now. UB_2 is data. Let's look at etc menderconf for a second. No, that's just the server interactions. Let's look at the persistent configuration. Data menderconf. Yeah, that's how I expect it to be. If somebody is actually like okay, memory, don't click random. You can always like and subscribe. I love animations. And I think this is basically all of the magic that is there. And as I told you, the one thing which is crazy about the 64 megawatts flash emulation plus needing more storage space is the unpack magic, which basically is hidden away in this script. And in the end calls QEMU on a VExpress machine and adds 2 NOR files. I don't know if anybody's actually listening, but if you are listening and you're old enough to still remember NOR memory, well then, welcome to the club. I still do so. The problem is that given the very restricted size of 128 megabytes, I still can't get the full validation suite in there, which is a thing that I'm still working on somehow. Okay. Let's look at this in Git status. A lot of crap here. I really need to clean this out and then I'll publish it so somebody else can hopefully run the UBFS setup. Again, if you're listening to this and you find that I am somebody you want to talk to, you can always visit MentorHub. And again, here's the warning. This is experimental. This is just for me to figure out the interactions between the technology, like my microphone, like speaking, camera, sharing, whatever. And okay. Is there a setting to make this? Can I make this scroll? That's cool. I really should keep this. I love it. But anyways, there will be a script which you can use to run Mender on QEMU emulating VExpress with UBFS on raw flash in a personal branch really soon. And basically that's what I'm showing today. Let me look at the clock. I don't think anybody actually was listening, but that's no problem. As I said, this is just for me. One of the main problems that I have is the validation script, which does actually check the full A/B logic, uses Python, and you really, as far as I can tell, there's no way to get Python plus Mander plus systemd plus all of this logic into a root file system this small without substantial beating. And substantial beating is always bad, obviously. Okay, I think I've tried a couple of things which I planned for today. Again, this is really just experimental, but hopefully the last session. The next one will be episode 1, really 1 of the DeviceDojo. I'm very thrilled about that. Finally getting started with it. And if you feel like getting in touch, talking to me, whatever, you know where to find me. I need to figure out how to make an intro and extra video. Memory for myself. I can